What's good, everybody? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity John. Dima, I'm a piano music. So guys, just earlier today, I was watching a live stream from Duke and Don. They're out of the Midwest and they're a good live stream. Check them out. First comment at the top. And they had a video that discussed DJ Academics and Kevin Samuels. And DJ Academics has a clip in which he's talking about Kevin Samuels, and that Kevin Samuels is never going to make it mainstream. Okay. And I want to talk about that because he said similar things about, like Fresh and Fit with this last Asian doll debacle. And he said this about Kevin Samuels. So obviously we got to look at who DJ Academics is. Number one, he's a pioneer in social media hip hop, especially on YouTube. He's transitioned himself multiple times, or rebranded rather. So he was a guy that was a little reckless. Then he rebranded again. He rebranded some more. Got a really big Spotify deal, I believe. He's really influential, not even just on YouTube, but even helping artists, breakout artists. He's broke out several guys to get big deals because of him. So he's a guy that is in the industry. He was a guy who was very niche and then broke out into the industry. So when you talk about, the several layers of monetization that he has and levels of income and who he knows, he understands the business of the industry more than anybody, more than me, more than Kevin. Okay. Because he's done everything from Complex to, to the podcasting and all this other stuff. Right. And what he's talking about when he says Kevin is not going to ever make it mainstream, he said it's the reason because Kevin Samuels, he says a lot of things that a lot of men would not say. Why? Because it would get you fired. And I definitely know if I was saying those things and I worked at the job I worked at, people call up to your job and say, hey, such and such is saying this about women, no matter how fair and balanced it was, you would definitely be fired. Okay. And that he said that Kevin Samuels right now, where his content is, interviewing women, telling women how it is, many times they don't like it, that his content has hit what is known as a ceiling. Okay. And from there, he's not going to be able to go to the mainstream. Now, I want to assess this because I respect DJ Academics' opinion. And from what we've seen over Kevin Samuels over the last year and a half and 2 years. And I think this is really good for black men in general to understand these tips. And I do believe that he has a point to a certain degree. I do want to add something to it, right? One of the things when we talk about mainstream is changing. I think that's the evolution that we're not looking at. I think that's what Kevin Samuels has shown us with this content, is that the mainstream is women. But you are going to see in the following years, as these markets get money, as these things start to develop, you're going to see more men catering to men's content. You're going to see that more as a industry in itself. That's, I think, what guys are not betting on. Guys are not betting that men are going to come out and start to support these industries, start to support like men film projects. You have the men's meetups, you have the men's things like that. Those things, that's the next big market. I would say that's going to be like the next Bitcoin or Shiba Inu or Ethereum. These are things that you don't see coming in the future, right? But here's something that I think the Academics isn't looking at, that a lot of people who watch Kevin Samuels are in the mainstream. There are a lot of women who like him in the mainstream. Overall, there are a lot of women who support him that are also mainstream audiences. Okay. And the ball actually is in Kevin Samuels' court right now. And obviously everybody has to rebrand and things like that. And you're also seeing that. But I think that what we're discounting is that who his audience is. Like DJ Academic said, the only people that watch Kevin Samuels are dudes that want to see him roast women. And it's just, I mean, with all due respect to DJ Academics, I really like what he has to say, but does he understand who he's talking about? Because if you were to look at his YouTube analytics, and I know Kevin personally, I can assure you that Kevin Samuels' analytics for the people who watch him the most, You'd be surprised how it's almost 30 to 40% women. You'd be surprised how women tell each other, yo, you should listen to this guy. You'd be surprised that even my mom, even Kevin Samuels on the radio station in Sacramento, there are women who hate him, but there are women who love him also. And we're not talking about that. What we want to relegate him is the only guys that listen to Kevin Samuels are guys who hate, who want to see the roasting sessions and who want to see women held accountable, stuff like that. You'd be surprised of the women who want to see that also. But that's just not only his own message. He talks a lot about how to get along with people. There are other elements of relationship teaching that goes on. There's a lot of value in this content. There are people who get married who have been introduced from his content. There are celebrities. There are other things he's doing. Like not even only just, and I'll talk about certain things you'll see later. But if you want to talk about Kevin in the mainstream, I mean, he's dealt with Brittany Renner. He's making those transitions as we speak, you see? And I think that what happens is that every few years, there are things that we think are going to happen that are not going to happen, and then they happen. And the reality is you can make a lot of money in a niche audience. I know that. I am a Black manosphere content creator. I'm not looking to be in the mainstream or anything like that, but I am in the Black manosphere, and it is a really good economy to be in. But a guy like Kevin is going to go into the mainstream in a different way. And it's something that can't be stopped because there's evidence that too many people like it. And the mainstream is going to do what the mainstream will do in any business is you're going to adopt to what's hot. Like, for example, in Northern California, and I know this wasn't necessarily the mainstream, but let's talk about in the 90s. Gangster rap, NWA, Too Short, guys like this, guys who were very vulgar on the rap CDs, F the police, you had all who were protesting against this. But what did you find out? People liked it. Same thing, and even on a smaller scale, from those of you who are in the Bay Area, the hyphy movement, right? The whole Mac Dre and the old thing, like even E40 grew out dreads, right? That whole little move was taking over California. It was breaking into the mainstream. And once it had an audience for it, people supported it. And you can't get around to what people like. If there's a market for that and there's millions of dollars in that, hey, that's when you get called up to be, hey, you want to be in this film? Hey, you want to be in this movie? Hey, you want to be in this what? And that's what people care about. Where's the money coming from? Where is the incentives coming from? Once you see that, that's a different story. And the mainstream it's going to continue to evolve. And I think that there is going to be a new mainstream that revolves around men's media. There's going to be that new mainstream. That's that new wealth that's going to come. That's that new money generator going to come. And that's going to be built over time. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I really appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. Check out the first comment at the top. And as you know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. I'm out.